Hi, Debbie. Thanks for waiting. I always have delays. So everything's looking good. This is your flat walk. Your body looks good. Your eyes are good. Look at those heels are even down. Everything looks really nice. And you're nice. And you're getting a nice 4-beat gait. You're starting to speed up there to your running walk. Still staying 4-beat. You got a nice head shake out of Milo. I think everything looks beautiful there. You're starting to go more towards your saddle gait. The hardest part, just to know that you're in it, is you won't have much head shake. So the head shake will get less and less. So if you're ever unsure, just keep looking at his head. You can see it shaking there, so you know you need to go just a little bit faster to get it. But it's best to gradually speed up in the beginning when we're unsure, so you don't go past their gait and go into a step pace. But you're doing well. You'll see he's not shaking his head as much there. Your body position is good. Your hands are good. He's still keeping an independent footfall, so his feet are hitting the ground 4 different times. And you'll see you have just a tiny little jiggle in the saddle there. So when you're doing that saddle gait, you're either going to have a little jiggle, or it might actually be completely smooth. And many times as you go faster, because you might do that out on the trail, which will be your rack, you'll feel like you're floating kind of on a magic carpet across the ground. So you did well. I know your arena is not that great, and so going over the different footing and up and down can make it much harder, because you have to keep half halting and adjusting your weight and helping adjust your horse to keep them in frame and in the same speed when the footing keeps changing. But you've done everything I've said, and now everything is looking great. And you can hear that nice footfall. So again, you can hear that footfall pretty clearly. So for those of you watching, you do have to teach yourself like what it sounds like and what it looks like. But Debbie's demonstrating it really well. And she's done a great job with this horse. This is her first gaited horse, and he just paced when she got him. And now we've got a flat walk, a running walk, and she's on the saddle gait. And all she has to do to get that rack is just, once he gets conditioned in this, just speed up a little bit more and keep speeding up until that's as much as he can go. But you really want to put your work in at that flat walk, which Debbie did. She did it for a very long time, and now Milo understands her. On the haunches, the only thing I'd say is look up a little bit higher over his ears. Otherwise, that was pretty perfect, at least in my book. That was your flat walk again. Now you're starting to speed up, so you're going more towards your running walk. And Milo's a foxtrotter, Tennessee walking horse cross. So for those of you watching, he doesn't have a huge stride like some of the walking horses can. And he's very sure-footed on the trail, so you see the difference. So that was just a little canter step that he put in there. So now, Debbie, you're back up to your saddle gait. You'll see there's not a lot of head shake. And I know that Pivo jerks around. It does it to me too. It drives me nuts. So you'll hear that same footfall again. Then you heard a change for a step there. So you're just trying to keep that even 4-beat footfall with the legs landing independently each time. And for those of you watching, it'll be like the left hind and then the left front and then the right hind and the right front. So you might see a little head shake and think that's it, the running walk, but the head shake for the running walk is a much deeper shake. So with your saddle gait, you can have a little shake in their head, it's just not much. So Debbie, your position looks really good. Yep, if I was gonna be picky, I'd say bring your leg back just an inch or two, but that's otherwise it. But since he's gaiting so well, I think you should just keep doing what you're doing. Your hands look soft. And he's just doing a very, very nice saddle gait for you there. Just a very nice job. Debbie demonstrates, like, if you're motivated, even though this might be your first gaited horse, you can get it done, because she's done a lovely, lovely job, but she does have a background in dressage, and that makes a huge difference in knowing how to ride your horse body position and how to keep the same rhythm as you're going around the arena. We all pat our horses, that's what we learned growing up, but horses really don't like to be patted. They like to be scratched. They don't have fingers, they don't have fingernails. So as a reward, we give them rest and we put them on a loose rein, just like Debbie's doing. You don't want to hold them when they're resting. You want to let them put their head wherever, look wherever they want when they're on break time. And then you'll see Debbie's rubbing her horse. She was trying very hard just to rub him and not to pick on her all the time about that. And you'll see Milo's very happy and content to work for her. And you'll see, you can just tell in his face and his mind that he's very calm and relaxed with her. So now she's going to start her canter work. This is his better lead to the left. And she taught him to canter as well. So that was a good takeoff. He rose way up, and then there he starts getting flat and going more towards a 4-beat canter. So Debbie and I talked about it. The arena can make a huge difference. The footing in this arena isn't that great, and so that makes it much harder. And when the horses lose balance, if it's a lateral horse like Milo, they'll get a little lateral. So I think you're doing a good job. You're giving him nice pre-cues, understanding that he's supposed to take off, and then he just falls apart more because of the footing and his strength. But I know if you had better footing, it'd be much easier for you. So you want to just keep practicing using those pre-cues, you know, your half halt, shift your weight to the outside, eyes up, which you're doing all of that, and then that outside leg. And then once you get the canter, just every time your buttock hits the saddle, give a little half halt with your hands and drive a little bit with your seat and your legs. When the arenas are like this, you can go around the whole thing. When they start flattening out, getting that 4-beat canter, go forward. Just let them go a little bit more there. That's better. And that'll get them back in that canter. And then in time, it will get much better. But what I would recommend in your arena is keep them in a circle. And that circle and that bend will help to balance him. And you can, in time, bring his head just a little bit lower, especially if he's starting to go 4-beat, because the more we round him out, the more diagonal he'll go, so it'll help you to get that footfall back. So rounding the horse out, using poles, both those things will help him to get his canter steps back. And see, you're scratching him so nicely now. Doing your turn on the forehand, everything looks good, except you'll see your head's tilted a little bit there. And so you're looking down at him. So just try to look over his ears and where you want to go and not down on his head at all when you're doing the turn. This is Milo's bad lead that she's gonna do. It took us a long time. If you look back at our videos, you'll see we used poles, we did it in the round pen, and then she's been working on it. So we want him to lead with this right front leg, but the canter actually comes from that outside hind leg. So we try to keep his hindquarters in a little bit and give a half halt, shift the weight, and then ask with the leg. And she did get a nice canter there, okay? And for Milo, that was pretty far that she went. So I would have just stopped him a little bit sooner before he fell out of it so much, and just come back to the walk, which you're doing. So you're doing walk canter transitions, which is great because that'll help him relax. And then once they relax, then ask him again. And with some horses, you got to walk around 5 times before they go back to relaxing. But many of these horses that are lateral, they get very nervous when they go to canter because they don't know what to do with their feet. And if you just kick them, or you don't prepare them, or the footing's bad, so there he got the wrong lead, which Debbie knows, so you have to know your leads to get the canter. But they get very anxiety stricken. So you want to just do it step by step, so they learn how to use their legs. So this is good, and then right there I would have brought him back to a walk. So just a little sooner than you're bringing him back. So he gets probably 2 to 3 good steps, and after that he flattens out, goes more towards a 4-beat canter. Yep, so right about in here was where he started falling apart. So again, I would have kept him, I would have brought him back sooner. And then I'd keep him in a circle because that will help more, and you might have more footing in the middle of the arena, which would help also. And then what I would do is set up a circle of poles. And you can make it like a big 20-meter circle, and when he starts falling apart, canter over a pole. But make it so maybe the pole's here, so that way if you don't need it, you can pass it and go to the next one. But if he starts falling apart, you can turn canter over that pole, and that'll help to get that canter motion back for him. It takes time and it takes strength to do that, and that's the hard part. So you just got to put the time in, but he's doing really, really well. So again, I do the canter walk transitions, but with some poles. And then again, when he is cantering, half halt, use both your legs, drive a little bit with your seat to bring him up into the bridle as you're going. And again, the more you keep his head down in the beginning, the more it can make them diagonal to help you to stay in a 3-beat canter. But many of the lateral ones start swinging the legs together on the same side, and they start 4-beating. It looks like it's together, but all their legs are moving separate. So, but body position, what you're doing, all that is good, and that was very good. He started to pull. I saw you, Pat. He started to pull, and you corrected him and told him no, and that was perfect. You're like, don't do that. Now you're scratching. So great job. You did an excellent job. So just a couple critiques, but Debbie, your riding's really good. The main thing with your riding is just your eyes. Keep them up more. You're doing great scratching him. You're doing great rewarding him at the right time. I would just take him out of the canter sooner before it gets really flat. Use the poles. And again, you can set the poles up in a circle, but you can also set them up in a line if he's having a problem in a certain place, or you just want a different exercise to do. Start with 2 poles, make them about 12 feet apart, which is about 3 of my big steps. And then you might have to adjust it for him because he does have a little smaller stride. So you'll see he should jump in and jump out of the pole, kind of like an in and out jump. And so you can start with 2 poles. Once he can do that well, you can do 3 poles, and you can do that on a curve, or you can put it in a straight line. Like if you didn't want to set up a whole bunch of poles, you could just put 3 poles in the middle, and that way you could do it one direction and you can do it the other direction. And then maybe a couple poles on the opposite side, so you could try one more time if you wanted to. But overall, excellent job. Everybody should be like Debbie, because Debbie tries real hard. If you watched her other videos, he had some issues, behavior issues, and then also he was very nervous with certain things, and she has been working him through all of those things. So even if you have issues with your horse, you'd never know because she's done such a good job. It looks like she has no problems at all, but she's been working this horse and taking lessons and doing everything I've told her to do, and now she looks fantastic. I mean, she could go to show. You'd never know she didn't know much about gaited horses. So bravo, Debbie. Keep up the good work.